You're listening to Power Talks with Beth Ann and Melody Cedarstrom in the morning, where talk is real, truth is in the talk, and there's power, absolute power in truth and Power Talks. Welcome to Power Talks. I'm Beth Ann, and good morning, Melody. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. Good morning to you. Good morning to the listeners. It's a beautiful day here on the East Coast in the Delmarva Peninsula in Maryland, and I think all eyes are on Hurricane Jose now. To see which direction that one's going to take, but lots of cleanup in the two previous hurricanes that we have experienced.
Picking up and moving on with life is going to be their task right now, and that's a tough task. You know, when I had a fire, I lost everything, Melody. There was nothing but ashes, nothing to go through. They're going to go in there with the flooding or the debris, and they have to pick it up and pick through it and go through it, and I just cannot imagine. It was bad enough when I lost my home in a fire, and like I said, that was an individual tragedy. It wasn't a community tragedy or anything. But for insurance, you had to write down everything you lost. And that was quite an emotional ordeal, and so I just can't imagine what they're going through, or I can kind of imagine as they pick up the pieces and the debris and the ruined items, and maybe they can salvage something and maybe not. You know, it's my heart just goes out to them, because I know that picking up the pieces and moving on is necessary, and it is difficult in the first few weeks and years. I've lived longer past that time than I was before that time now when I lost everything, and I still find myself looking for something that was pre-fire, where because your mind just, it's just always there.
Can I give a pet peeve?
Sure.
I have a pet peeve. And I don't think we meant to get on hurricanes first thing and so forth.
No,
I was going to save this for later on, but since we're talking about them, and then we can move on. Houston. My pet peeve is property taxes. Yes, I have pet peeves with all taxes. Don't get me wrong. But the biggest one is property taxes, especially as people age and people don't want to go to nursing homes. But property taxes continue to rise over this, and everybody always approves them. I mean, how often do they ever get turned down, for increases? And, people think that we're going to have tax cuts coming from, the administration. Well, no, people, taxes don't go down. It's like there's no crying in baseball. Taxes don't go down. They get a one way or another. Houston. Okay, they're dealing with their damaged homes and trying to get back to normal. Well, the city council, they're looking to add a 9% increase on property taxes. 9%. Now, the average the average home in Houston is valued at about $225,000. They're talking like it's only going to add $117 a year to the tax bill. Well, I'll guarantee you, if Houston is the number 4 city in this country and the number 10th economy in the world, I'll guarantee you there's a lot higher valued homes than $225,000 that was damaged. Those homes that we saw on television all the time, I'll guarantee you they were valued at more than $225,000. Now, they say the tax hike would be temporary, because it's an emergency request in the wake of Hurricane Harvey. The mayor, Sylvester Turner, says it's needed to pay Harvey relief. Now, this isn't an issue about $10 a month in additional taxes. It's like, why does the government think they have the right to increase taxes on an emergency basis? This is setting a very bad precedent.
Wouldn't that be gouging, just like at the pump, or
you would think
those that were trying to charge? What was it? I can't remember what it was for the water that they were trying to. Isn't that considered a little bit of a gouge too?
A good point. Good point. There were people told the ABC News that they're not happy with the idea, and they would rather see the state dip into the rainy day fund to offset the city's expenses. Well, I'll guarantee you, there's probably no money in that rainy day fund, and that's why they can't do it. None of these cities,
they done spent that rainy day fund.
Most likely. I mean, I think the state should be responsible. Raising taxes on the middle class working family. I mean, it's just at a time, and people say, well, gee whiz, it's only a little bit, and it's only for a year. It sets the precedence that,
They really think it'll be only for a year?
Taxes don't go down. They have to get it one way or another.
Yeah, they may pretend it goes down in one place, but it'll go up somewhere else, or we'll have a new permit fee or a new license fee or a new something else fee that will take its place, because those are taxes too, and people don't look at them that way, but they are.
Yes. Well, now, they're going to have three public. Let me just finish this up real quick. They're going to have three public hearings, so it hasn't been passed, and the move would bring about $110 million. And my question is, what would $110 million do when the loss is estimated to be $90 billion plus? For that area and the surrounding area. And then maybe if this goes through, then maybe if there's another catastrophic loss, maybe they'll increase property taxes on everyone in the country. Don't we as a people want to? It's just.
It goes on and on, doesn't it?
It goes on and on.
It goes on and on.
Sets a bad precedent.
It does set a bad precedent. I have two things that I want to talk to you about. One is I did not see this in the news. I got this yesterday. It's the time on it is 1:21 p.m. So it had been an hour or a couple hours after my show with CSC Talk Radio. But I didn't see anything last night on any of the news shows, and I didn't just sit and, well, I did mostly, because I didn't just sit and watch, but I was up and down, because I'm getting ready for a banquet tonight that I'm going to be emceeing. It says an Afghanistan car suicide attack on the anniversary of 9/11 wounded 2 U.S. troops and 3 Afghan civilians. So, but I didn't hear anybody mention this anywhere else on the news last night. Now, maybe it's something that happens quite frequently over there. I don't know. It says Operation Resolute Support, the U.S. mission in Afghanistan, released a statement yesterday noting that a small number of service members suffered injuries after a suicide bomber drove into their convoy. And this happened in Parwan province, which is near Bagram Airfield. I don't even have a clue if I'm pronouncing those right. Ever since President Donald Trump pledged to U.S. troops in Afghanistan to keep them there, the Taliban has in turn pledged to turn the country into a graveyard for foreign troops. A small number of Resolute Support Service members and Afghan civilians were wounded today, this is the statement, when a suicide attacker targeted the convoy with a vehicle-borne improvised explosive device near the village, and I am not even going to try to pronounce that, but it's around Parwan province. And it said the Taliban, when they gave the news, they inflated the number of wounded, and they said that they do that often when they turn that into the journalists. And they said that stating that 24 invaders were either injured or killed, and the Taliban regularly exaggerates. But I didn't hear anything about this. It was an attack, and it was on 9/11 because of the date. And but maybe it's something that happens quite frequently over there. I don't know, but I was kind of disappointed because we were talking. I watch the Fox News, and we talk politics and politics and politics. But sometimes do we get anything done? That's something that I hope you and I do with Power Talks, and I try to do with CSC Talk Radio, and I know you try to do with Financial Survival, that we need to educate and encourage the listeners, the American people out here. They hear bad news constantly, but we don't get the encouragement. And sometimes, we have to bring the news and read between the lines. And that's my next little article I wanted to share. And that is, hunger in the U.S. drops to its lowest level since 2007. It says the number of people going hungry in the U.S. is at its lowest level since 2007, and this is according to a new report from the U.S. Department of Agriculture, the USDA. Many people in rural America call that Uncle Sam destroying agriculture, but we'll not go there today. According to the report, 41.2 million people said they were food insecure in 2016, meaning that their ability to access adequate food uncertain for at least a portion of the year last year. The number was a 2.4% decrease from 2015. The state that reported the most hunger was Mississippi. Now, down in the South, they are really, really hurting. They are very poor down South. They reported 19% of households reporting food insecurity. I've not heard that comment before. Hawaii, on the other hand, has the lowest rates of residents going hungry at only 8.7%. Well, the USDA report says much of the drop is attributed, now this is what I wanted to question you about, Melody, it's attributed to a decreasing unemployment rate and less inflation of food prices. Many people can afford to buy food. I haven't noticed a whole lot of food going down in the grocery store, have you?
No.
Have you noted prices going down?
Not at all. Not at all.
It says food insecurity increased substantially with the recession. Well, I can understand that because we were, recession, our dollar goes down and prices go up. It says the U.S. unemployment hit 4.4% in August, an 0.5% decrease from 2016. It said in May, the Department of Labor said the unemployment numbers fell to a 28-year low just months, Melody, after President Donald Trump took office.
Don't get me started.
Oh, I wanted to get you riled. It said the number of people receiving food stamps and benefits. Now, this is something that, if this is true, this is really great news, but it says the number of people receiving food stamp benefits through the Supplemental Nutritional, we got so many departments, Nutrition Assistance Program also decreased. Now, I have been hearing that. About 41.5 million people received food stamp benefits as of May 2017, marking the lowest level of participation in the program since 2010. Now, there were a couple of states, and I don't have those articles with me. I want to say Maine was one of them, that they were having to work for their food stamps. They had to do something for them, and they were less and less people were going on food stamps. But if we have less hunger and we have less people taking money from the government, that's a good thing. But I'm kind of I don't.
May I see this report? Agreed. if there's less people going hungry, yes, of course, that is a good thing.
Absolutely.
However, the point of this whole thing is there's 41.5 million people. Why are they hungry? Why are they food deficient? We're supposed to be living in the richest country in the world.
Amen, sister.
And you have 41.5 million people. That's to congratulate this great country that things are going down? I mean, come on.
Well, the war on poverty has really worked well, hasn't it?
Oh, my heavens.
We have more people on poverty since President Lyndon Johnson, started the war on poverty. We have more people in poverty and more people on the dole from the government, having to have government. But food insecure is the word, it's the phrase, food insecure.
Do people realize that if these people weren't getting little credit cards to go to the store to buy their food, that we would have pictures, just like we've had during the Depression, of people standing in lines with soup bowls waiting to get fed?
Yep, that's exactly right. It's wonderful to be in free America, isn't it? We're going into a break. Your calls are welcome. I want to ask a question. We're going to change the topic, but I want to ask a question. Has anybody else noticed that the food in the grocery stores has gone down? And if you have, I legitimately want to, I kind of have to confess, I've been so busy here. My hubby does most of the grocery shopping. Has anybody noticed that the food in the grocery stores is going down? 717-300-1218.
Hear it first on FirstAmendmentRadio.com and FirstAmendmentRadio.net. Gold and silver is tremendously undervalued. Global demand vastly exceeds mine supply by more than 60% annually. There is little in the financial world more certain than a coming explosion in the prices of gold and silver. The U.S. dollar continues to lose value and respect as the world's reserve currency. Our nation faces challenges on many fronts, and a day doesn't pass without another economist bringing forth warnings of impending economic calamity. There has never been a better time than right now to acquire physical gold and silver. Discount Gold and Silver Trading was founded on the principles of truth and honesty. We believe in providing a quality product, quality service, and most importantly, competitive pricing. We provide all forms of precious metals, including American gold, silver, platinum, and rare investment and circulated coins. Silver bars, rounds, and 90% silver bags are on hand for the silver investor. Gold self-directed IRAs are available. Call Discount Gold and Silver Trading at 1-800-375-4188. Toll free, that's 1-800-375-4188.
Visit crosstheborder.org, CROSS, crosstheborder.org, to get your print, EPUB, or PDF version of Nicholas Arthur's new book titled When the Third Temple is Built. That's crosstheborder.org. When it comes to prophecy today, much of the evangelical Christian world has their eyes on Israel, waiting and watching to see when the third temple will begin to be built. The plans are drawn. The Jewish people are eager. Most evangelical Christians today believe that the rapture will happen before the third temple is built. Hi, I'm Michael Eugene. I was taught that Daniel's 70th week was in the future. Is that really what the Bible teaches? Have we searched the Scriptures and found this to be true? Why is it so important for a reestablished Israel to build a third temple in Jerusalem? Is it necessary to build a temple on the same location already occupied by the Dome of the Rock? Is it necessary for sacrifices to take place in the temple on Temple Mount? Is there really a rapture followed by 7 years of tribulation? What is the New Testament temple? Can we identify history and prophecy? Who is the first beast in Revelation chapter 13? Who are the seven kings in Revelation 17? I have asked all these questions, and I have found Nicholas Arthur's new book, When the Third Temple is Built, answers all these questions and more using Scripture to interpret Scripture. The Bible says that no prophecy of Scripture is of any private interpretation. Nicholas shows us in his new book, When the Third Temple is Built, how the Bible interprets prophecy and not man's private interpretation. Visit crosstheborder.org, CROSS, crosstheborder.org, to get your print, EPUB, or PDF version of Nicholas Arthur's new book titled When the Third Temple is Built. That's crosstheborder.org.
Years ahead of the dominant media, FirstAmendmentRadio.com and FirstAmendmentRadio.net.
And we have returned. You're listening to Power Talks with Melody and Beth Ann in the morning. Melody, we've just missed it. We have missed out. Our opportunity to hit the big time. Laura Ingraham snatched it away from us, girl.
Oh,
the radio host, political commentator Laura Ingraham is reportedly getting a prime time slot now on Fox News. She's been there all the time anyway. She's always on Hannity. She's always on somebody's. She's taking over the 10 o'clock hour, which is where Hannity is right now. Hannity will move up.
Going?
He's moving up to the 9 o'clock hour. Let me finish here. Got a whole new lineup. Ingraham has been telling friends the deal is essentially done. They don't have a date of when it's going to all take place. But the new show, for which there was no announced start date, will start to be a part of the broader change to the network's top-rated prime time lineup, according to CNN Money. Sean Hannity's show will be at 10, and will move 1 hour earlier to 9. And the 5 is going back to 5. Thank goodness. Oh my gosh.
I can't handle that show.
The 5 will go back to 5. And of course, you know, Eric Bolin is gone. And I want to talk about him just a little bit. Eric Bolin is gone. And so, Tucker, it'll be Tucker. It'll be Hannity. It'll be, Laura Ingraham. That'll be the new lineup. Now, Eric Bolin, as everyone knows, has been attacked by the left. Whether his allegations, the accusations toward him are true or not, I don't know. He's fighting it. He says they're not true, and he was suing the journalist and all this. But yesterday, his son that's in college, young man, passed away. They don't know what. Nobody was announcing. He was very, very close to his son. His son was an athlete, played baseball, and I guess Eric played baseball. I didn't know that. They were telling this yesterday evening, and my heart just broke. I mean, it just broke for all that he's going through right now, the turmoil and everything in his life, and now his son has passed away. And his son was standing with him. They were fighting this ordeal together and believed in his dad. And anyway, it's a sad day, and I think we need to lift that family up in prayer. It's sometimes it just seems the mountain is awfully steep, you know. So anyway,
it does, and I agree. But on the other hand, if the allegations are true, that's certainly sad that his, and I don't know why they're the only reason they usually don't release. The death is usually it's suicide, I believe.
Well, or it could be something. Well, no, there are, some athletes have a hidden heart problem that
but they would usually release that in. They would usually release.
Well, they
that
wouldn't know necessarily right away.
Well, they'd have to do but they would say that we're doing an autopsy to see blah 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 blah.
Well, let's hope it was.
But I hope it was.
That's even more. That's even harder to take. That's even harder to deal with and to live with. And if the allegations are true, then I guess as you say, it all comes to fruition eventually. But I always question why these people wait absolutely so long, because apparently whatever happened years ago. But I don't know. I'm not going to defend because I don't know anything. I liked Eric. I liked his reporting. But anyway, I didn't get to see his show that he was actually on because that happens while I'm here in the office, and I don't have a TV in the office, so I didn't watch that. But I just watched him when he was, talking on Hannity or with Lou Dobbs or somebody else, and so
it is sad that whether it's true or not, how actions. Even from the other side can affect, so many
change
different people.
Life.
Yeah, and it's we live in that's the world we live in today. It's a very bizarre world, cruel world, and it's a world without God. And I think, and with the computers and instant information with fake news, and there's fake news from both sides and everything. I get that, but it really pits us against one another more so
it does.
than it ever has.
It does.
Yeah.
And
they use that as a tool. They use the propaganda to do that because, that's what you have to do. And that's why I do believe, when we talk about social unrest, it's the divide and conquer type mentality. And, there's just bizarre things going on. It's like us as humans are losing, we talk about our rights that we lose. I mean, you could look at this story as a silly story, as a stupid story. It is stupid. But then again.
But it's real.
It's real, and it talks about expanding legal rights for non-human animals. That wording alone is interesting because I think of an animal as non-human to begin with, but they're specifying a non-human animal, meaning people are animals. They're classifying as animals, and if anybody knows Alfred at Dask, that's his long arguments is they view us as animals.
Well, they do. They do. That's, that's part of the, we came from the ape thing, That's part of the evolution.
This court case is about a monkey, and the attorneys representing this monkey, they have agreed to compromise in a case where they asserted the animal owned the copyright of selfie photos it had shot with the photographer's camera. Under the deal, the photographer agreed to donate 25% of any future revenue from the images to charities dedicated to protecting monkeys in Indonesia. said the lawyers from People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals who filed the lawsuit. So this, again, it sets another dangerous precedent. My thing is, why is this even clogging up the courts? They did do this, they did make this agreement out of court and so forth. But PETA, get a life. PETA sued on behalf of the monkey in 2015, seeking financial control of the photographs for the benefit of the monkey named Naruto. And just bizarre.
People eating tasty animals. No, that's not the way it goes. But anyway, that's the way it should go.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, and earlier we talked about a little bit about 9/11, about not hearing the news, what was happening over there. Well, the architect supposedly, Khalid Mohammed, he's the accused architect of the attack on 9/11, 2001. He's spending the 16th anniversary sitting in Guantanamo Bay, and he's preparing for his 25th pre-trial hearing. Supposedly, that hearing is going to take place next month. Military prosecutors' latest estimate is that the jury selection of Mohammed's terrorism trial will begin in January 2019. 2019! That's just the jury selection. So what's going on there?
That's crazy.
So what? And the attorney says, there's every possibility that my client will die in prison before this process is completed, and maybe that's exactly the case. Maybe, just maybe, they want this guy to die in prison so they don't have to take him to court. There's a lot of controversy regarding the 9/11 attacks, and which there's a lot of
unanswered questions. There are,
I do lean towards the side that there's a whole lot more to 9/11 than what was.
Isn't there always? There was more to our attack on Pearl Harbor than met the eye immediately.
Absolutely.
We have found out since. Well, also, and this goes to how far the left. They just don't care what they say sometimes. But I don't know if you heard, but Democrat Representative Luis Gutierrez, I don't know if I'm saying his name right. He's an Illinois lawmaker, and he said Kelly's position on DACA just qualified him as a disgrace to the uniform he used to wear. So he went after Chief of Staff General Kelly, and of course Kelly came back. As far as the congressmen and other irresponsible members of Congress are concerned, they have the luxury of saying what they want, as they do nothing and have almost no responsibility. They can call people liars, but it would be inappropriate for me to say the same back at them. As my blessed mother used to say, empty barrels make the most noise. I kind of like that. Empty barrels make the most noise. But, these politicians, and not just Democrats, that one happened to be a Democrat, that just spout off and make stupid comments like that, they're not real. They don't even believe what they're saying, Melody. I really don't think they do.
Well, last week we talked about 40% of Democrats don't have a religious belief, and I think that just sums it up right then and there.
Yes.
It really does, and I know some good Democrats. I know some very good people that are Democrats, and it's just how they're thinking is just, that's the problem. They don't think.
I don't believe all.
Very few of them have very critical, and they do come from a different, they're social, it's kind of bizarre. But
they've bought into socialism.
Yeah.
They've bought into big government and socialism. Yes. I had a little article here. Here it is. I just got it before we went on the air. I just saw it, and it's coming from the Daily Caller. But it's the Kansas City police. They disarmed Antifa. It said the Kansas City police ordered the disarmament of armed Antifa groups who marched in Washington Square Park last Saturday, armed with semi-automatic rifles and ammunition. Activists with the Kansas City Revolution Collective, Serve the People, and progressive youth organizations rallied within the park to the anti-Sharia group Act for America. So here they have, and they were kind of talking about this last night, the Antifa's going after the anti-Sharia group. They don't have a clue of what is what. They don't know what's up. They don't know what's down.
So who disarmed who?
The police disarmed Antifa. They're the ones that came in with the weapons. So,
well, it's interesting because Chicago, over the Labor Day weekend, their murder rate was down, and they based it on confiscating of weapons. And,
that's funny.
Well, it is, but the dangerous point again there is, do we become comfortable with confiscating weapons in order to have crime decline? If
they're doing a peaceful demonstration, do they need to carry those weapons? They haven't been proven to be peaceful just yet. I understand what you're saying.
In Texas,
go ahead.
In Texas, when they were having a peaceful demonstration, a lot of them were all carrying, and so I think, again, it's setting this mindset of, hey, we can confiscate weapons and, we can drop crime significantly. We're taking the weapons away from the violent people. And these people, and no, I mean, it's funny because I heard this Antifa group described as rich white kids. You're right. They don't have a clue what's going on. They're just
I don't think they do.
Used.
They're not all white either, but
the majority. But that's how they were, and it was explained that way by a conservative. So it wasn't, the opposite side explaining them as their, And I don't like to tag anybody as far as their
and they're
color
wearing masks,
and so forth. But
they're wearing facial masks and covering their faces. They're going in like a thief in the night. They don't want anybody to know who they are.
That's because they're kids from wealthy families.
Well, they didn't get to do their act anyway. They got taken down. They were allowed to protest. They just weren't allowed to riot. And so I don't know. Anyway, I understand your point. I agree with it. I don't disagree with it at all. But Antifa hasn't proved to be they're going to end up killing somebody. They were beating a man to death here a couple weeks ago, and somebody else stepped in and stopped it. But them going after the anti-Sharia group is just craziness. They don't have a clue what one another even believes in. So
True.
It's they're clueless. They're clueless. That's all. I don't know how else to put it. And
why don't you hand out our phone number, Beth, and see if there's any listeners out there that would like to call us.
I will do that. 717-300-1218, 717-300-1218. There's power in your talk as well as power in our talk, and we want to hear from you, 717-300-1218. Did you have some financial stuff you were going to bring?
I do, but there's just one more thing I got to get off my chest here.
Okay.
Yesterday.
Let it go, girl. Let it go.
Yesterday, the U.S. Justice and Intelligence Chiefs on Monday formally asked Congress to renew a crucial surveillance law, setting up the battle with civil libertarians over collection of America's personal data. Director of National Intelligence Dan Coates and Attorney General Jeff Sessions are seeking a reauthorization of Title VII of the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, which is FISA, whose key section 702 allows the NSA to tap the communications of foreigners located abroad for intelligence purposes. That all sounds great and fine because they're looking at foreigners located abroad. However, that also gives the intelligence agencies the power to tap the phone calls and emails of the United States citizens. So, if we're going to make America great again, I'd kind of like to see, instead of just passing these, and they want to pass this with a permanent reauthorization, they ask for unchanged and permanent reauthorization. And I'd kind of like to see maybe something changed in some of these titles and surveillance that they've passed after 9/11, because they were all passed. Actually, the Section 702 was passed in 2008, and I'd like to see the Patriot Act addressed. And maybe there's some things they need to change in there and so forth. There's some things to be kept. And what about the NDAA? I mean, that certainly needs to be changed. And so these agreements, instead of just passing, that's where I'd like to see some of our Make America Great Again come into play. But that's just me.
We're having a slow go with the Make America Great Again campaign. Maybe we've made a few steps forward with some of the appointments of judges, but it just seems awfully slow. And we know that the Democrats have obstructed everything along the way since even before inauguration. And the Republicans haven't done anything to help. They really have not done as a whole. I know there's a few that are trying to, but as a whole, the Republicans have not done a whole lot to help. So I guess my question is, when Bannon left the White House and it was phase 2, I think phase 2 might be, and I had several different articles here, and I won't get into them in depth necessarily, but they're going to go after some of these offices that are up for election of these Republicans who are fighting the president, who are obstructing his ideas, and such as the wall, such as tax reform. And of course, that's all a pretense on the tax reform. I think maybe I want to believe that President Trump had a good idea there and really wanted to do it, but as far as Congress, I don't believe them ever. I don't ever believe them. But the things that they have, even getting his cabinet appointed, that just took forever. Do they have everybody yet? I think they finally do. Of course, some of them that in the House there at the White House, they've got to replace a few people, but he keeps firing and moving people, shuffling the deck, as I like to say. But they're going to go after those seats, and I think that that's probably a good thing, that we've got to go after them as long as we don't get Democrats elected. Unless we've got some Democrats that step up and say, you know what, I believe in the Constitution. I don't believe in socialism. I want to go back to what the Democrat Party of, say, our great-grandparents was, but I don't, one man in the White House I don't care who he is. He's not going to change everything, because Congress is fighting him tooth and toenail. And it's not just the Democrat side of Congress, it's the Republican side as well.
Absolutely. I mean, Congress stinks. I mean, they can't get anything done. And all they do, there's a reason why they have an 8% approval rating. I mean, how much lower can you go? Well, I guess you can go lower, but 8% is pretty low.
Congress is the swamp.
It
is. They keep multiplying the swamp with the bureaucracy, with people that they put in certain positions, such as different ones in the USDA. There's different people in these bureaucrat departments that are pushing an agenda that is not the president's agenda, is not parallel with the Constitution or the Bill of Rights. It is parallel with big government, king government, I like to say, king government incorporated, king government incorporated. That's what it is paralleling, and it's not a good thing. And it's, the president right now, President Trump's fighting all of that. Then I think he's just inundated with all of these swamp creatures, and I don't see how he can get anything done. So phase 2 is my opinion, and maybe I'm wrong, is replacing the rhino fighting obstructionist Republicans on the election in 2018.
Well, I don't think that's going to happen, but they can try that goal. I know Trump is getting ready to hit quite a few states to promote his tax cuts. And, if they didn't, put the debt ceiling debate on hold until December 8th, he couldn't, and I think that's the key, to try to push this the tax cuts through before they have to address the debt ceiling once again. Friday, the federal debt officially surpassed the $20 trillion for the first time, as the debt subject to the legal limits set by Congress jumped $317.6 billion in one day. In one day. Tell me how you're going to get tax cuts through. That's what people don't get. It's like, the government can continue to print as much money as they can to get it done. Well, you know what? That money that we print, we have to borrow and we have to pay it back. And that comes from the taxpayers. And it's just like, it can't be done. The money has to come from somewhere to pay for those tax cuts.
Why doesn't everybody go through their game cabinets and get out their Monopoly games and just send that money to the D.C. occupiers occupying offices and cutting deals and say, "Here's, pay this"?
I mean, it's so ridiculous. And the thing of it is, people are going to lose 70% of their hard-earned savings. Yeah, people who don't have any savings, people who are living paycheck to paycheck, your prices are going to rise. We're going to head into hyperinflation, so what is your paycheck's going to earn you then? How are you, the SNAP program is going to increase again. That'll probably double because people won't be, but then again, where's the government going to come from to pay for those increases in the SNAP? So again, people will go hungry. They might be living paycheck to paycheck, and they might be saying, well, I don't have to worry about losing 70% of my money because I don't have any. Well, how hungry are you going to be? Because your money isn't going to buy you the food that you're going to need to eat. And people don't get this. People who are lucky, who have been blessed, who have been worked hard, who have savings, what are you going to do to protect it? We just can't keep going deeper and deeper in debt. The day of reckoning comes when this all comes crumbling down. And who's going to be there? Do you think the government is going to be there? Oh, they'll be there with another program to screw you some more, to control you more, to control you more. Is that what you want? I guess there's some people, and I've heard this from people that I like and friends who says, well, you know what? If it happens, I'm not going to be alone. It's going to happen to everybody. It's like, what kind of thinking is that? That's Democrat thinking.
Where have we come as a society, as a nation? When we watch a video such as last night, and we watch these people going in and robbing a shoe store during the hurricane tragedy.
Yeah, what do you think they're going to be doing when they're hungry?
Yeah, you're going to see and they're not hungry. Those people were not hungry, and they were not poor. They were not without shoes, but I'll probably bet you a bottom dollar they were on government assistance. We're going into a break. Your calls are welcome. Power Talks. We believe that the power is in you as well as right here on this Power Talks show. 717-300-1218 is the number to call. 717-300-1218 in Melody, Beth Ann with Power Talk. We'll be right back.
Hear it first on FirstAmendmentRadio.com and FirstAmendmentRadio.net. Since the beginning of time, kings have sought it, nations have fought for it. It has been traded, it has been borrowed, it has been purchased, it has been stolen. There's a reason for it. To secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and to our posterity. Invest with the security of gold and silver. Call Discount Gold and Silver Trading at 1-800-375-4188 or visit discountgoldandsilvertrading.net. Listen to Financial Survival with your host Melody Cedarstrom right here on FirstAmendmentRadio.com at 4 p.m. Eastern or 1 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit discountgoldandsilvertrading.net or call Discount Gold and Silver Trading at 1-800-375-4188. Toll free 1-800-375-4188. The program you are listening to is 100% sponsored by you, the listener, on this First Amendment Rights Media channel. You will notice that there are few commercials on this radio network. There's a good reason for that. Corporate advertising dollars come with strings that limit program content. So without your help, these programs cannot continue on Internet or our several affiliates. If you benefit by the educational law programs, we ask you to give. If you are admonished or nurtured by the Bible and ministry programs, we ask you to give. If some voice a cause that you are passionate about, we ask you to give. If you believe in any of these, we ask you to support them as you would a missionary on a continual basis, as if giving a tithe for missionary radio. These programs are not commercially viable and must be supported by those faithful to the cause of truth. Look for the button to sponsor your favorite programs at our listen and schedule pages on the Internet. Then, when you subscribe, we will send you the last quarterly MP3 CD of that program immediately, and continue to do so with each new quarter. We will also give you unlimited archive access to all of our programs. We're asking you to give much less than a tithe, so that you may also send support directly to a particular program host, cause, and anywhere else the Spirit may lead you. Do all to the glory of our God and Creator, for His holy nation, the only kingdom that will last forever. Thank you for listening.
And we have returned. You're listening to Power Talks. This is Beth Ann, and it's with Beth Ann and Melody in the morning, or Melody and Beth Ann in the morning. And we're in the final segment of this morning's show. We've talked about several different things. There's just so much going on, and it's hard to keep up with it all. And it gets old, don't you think, Melody? Doesn't some of it just get some of the accusations and the mudslinging, it just gets old after a while. And I know that there's things that we just really need to talk about and try to keep the listeners, all of us, encouraged. And that's what our mission is. We want to bring you the truth, empower you with the truth, but encourage you with the truth. Sometimes the truth hurts and it's ugly, but we're so much better off if we know it than if we don't know it. And that's why we're here.
Well, I think with the power and with the truth, it allows people to act. We live in a world today where you have to act because no one else is going to do it for you.
No.
You do need to, take into consideration of everything. And that's why when we bring these articles, and I try to bring the financial end of things, folks, we're not in a good place. Sure, the sun rose today. It's a beautiful day here in Delmarva. I'd like to just go to the beach today and forget about everything. But I know that's not, and you can do that if you're prepared. If you're prepared to protect yourself from situations like we've seen, and to the best of your ability, to what we've seen in Houston, to what we've seen in Florida, and all the future and all the past. Protect yourself because we know you're not going to get the truth, the real truth, from mainstream media. I don't care where it comes from. You'll get a lot of it from some of the programs like Fox News, but they even have a spin on their news.
Sure they do.
They're all controlled by the same people. They all control and gets approval.
They're just reaching out to a different audience.
It's all about
they're
money.
Trying to please their audience. It's all about marketing.
It's all about money.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about money.
Absolutely.
And so, they're getting a niche of the population that's sort of frowned at, the deplorables. They're getting us deplorables, and they're marketing it for the funds and for the money that the advertising and so forth. So the Internet, good heavens, if you believe anything on the Internet, I'm sorry. If I get news off the Internet, I know who it's coming from. And I always try and confirm it from various sources, and not just the same sources that reprint the article. And that's what so many people do. Oh, well, because I ask them, well, where'd you hear about it? Oh, well, I got it from this site. Well, did you find it anywhere else? Oh, yeah, from this other site, Well,
but it's the same writer.
Pretty much.
Same writer, same article, just in a different format. Yeah, you do have to be careful. I've got stung before, and but you do have to be careful. There's certain sources that I do trust more than others, and even some of those I kind of question from time to time, and I don't always agree with them. That doesn't necessarily mean I'm not going to read them, but I don't always agree with them. I get
shouldn't agree with everything. I mean, that's great. I mean, we should always have our own critical thinking. So that's what you're supposed to do. And
well, that's what our founding fathers did. Question the government, question the media. We've seen how biased they are, and we know that they're there to make money. Some of the rest of us would like to make money once in a while, but it's you just have to question it, and don't take everything. My mentor used to say, "Don't believe me. Do your own research."
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Do your own research. See what you find. And
there was when we're talking about, I just want to get this in before the end of the show today, for people who were buying gold and silver on Thursday. There was one of the biggest option trades that were purchased on iShares Silver Trust, which is better known by its ticker symbol SLV. And specifically, this trade, it was one of the Thursday's biggest option trades. It was 19,525 strike call options that expire in January of 2019. It appears that they had been purchased at 0.47 cents per share, and since each options contract controls 100 shares, the total cost of the trade was $916,000. So almost $1 million in these call options, even though they're expiring 2019. So this person is expecting silver to do some incredible numbers and actually to beat the 25.47. The trade breaks even at $25.47. So theoretically, the ETF would theoretically need to rally about 50% in order for the trader to make money. Given silver's notable volatility in the long time between now and the trader's expiration, it's not as outlandish as it sounds, which means that this guy is hedging his portfolio. The guy's obviously has got some bucks if he can spend $1 million in call options in silver, and that means he's not a dummy if he's got $1 million to put into the silver call, into the SLV. So the point is, gold and silver prices are going higher in the very near term. And would I bet my, this guy's, he's, so it could be a firm with some large holding in stocks. They might have purchased these options as sort of an insurance policy, figuring that an event that takes down stocks will simultaneously spur silver. And, of course, we always know that silver and gold tend to have an inverse relationship with most equities. So, and we see metals rise in times of fear, and stocks will usually rise in times of optimism. And I think this is what we've seen this year. So, folks, there's no better time now than to purchase some gold and silver at these prices. And people focus too much also on prices. They fail to remember what the fundamentals of gold and silver are. And gold is your savings account, silver is your checking account. And you just don't buy gold and silver to buy things. You buy gold and silver to preserve your purchasing power. So those of you who have IRA accounts, pension plans, 401s, savings, CDs, you better review them and see if you have them protected by gold and silver. Do you have them hedged against what really is coming our way? We're over $20 trillion in debt. The only way we can have a tax cut is by going deeper and deeper into debt, because there's no obvious revenue to pay for it. And everything else, building the wall, everything that this administration wants to do is going deeper and deeper into debt. And I don't think the jobs created will cover the amount of debt that we have to go into, because we're too far in debt. We have debt that can't be paid. So it's up to you to do some critical thinking on your portfolio and where your savings are at, and get a hedge with gold and silver. And there's no one else to do it better for you, to help you, than Discount Gold and Silver Trading. So give them a call at 1-800-375-4188. That's 1-800-375-4188. We got some great pricings. We had a little bit of drop in gold and silver yesterday. No big deal. We had a 4-day work week last week, so yesterday was basically, 2 days of trading. The stock markets went nuts. Pressure on, pressure on gold and silver. It's just, we're just living in such a time where it's so volatile. So why don't you put
everything's fragile.
Absolutely. And it has the power to basically eliminate people's savings. So.
Yeah. They say, tomorrow's not a guarantee, so now it's time to prepare. And I think we've seen this with the hurricanes and how quickly lives can be changed, and with the hurricanes, with the fires, with the earthquakes in Mexico, you just see how quickly tomorrow can change your life. And so it's you can never be prepared too soon. So give Discount Gold and Silver a call at 1-800-375-4188. And check out the website, dgscoins.com, because Melody has some fantastic stuff there, and information, as well as her newsletter is there. So appreciate it, Melody.
We're out of time. I hear
We are. I hear it. I hear that music of free, and that's what we all long to be. We long to be free, not free to do whatever we want, but free in liberty. Thank you, Melody, for being here with me this morning. Thank you, listeners, and we will be back tomorrow.
Visit crosstheborder.org, CROSS, crosstheborder.org, to get your print, EPUB, or PDF version of Nicholas Arthur's new book titled When the Third Temple is Built. That's crosstheborder.org. When it comes to prophecy today, much of the evangelical Christian world has their eyes on Israel, waiting and watching to see when the third temple will begin to be built. The plans are drawn. The Jewish people are eager. Most evangelical Christians today believe that the rapture will happen before the third temple is built. Hi, I'm Michael Eugene. I was taught that Daniel's 70th week was in the future. Is that really what the Bible teaches? Have we searched the scriptures and found this to be true? Why is it so important for a re-established Israel to build a third temple in Jerusalem? Is it necessary to build a temple on the same location already occupied by the Dome of the Rock? Is it necessary for sacrifices to take place in the temple on Temple Mount? Is there really a rapture followed by 7 years of tribulation? What is the New Testament temple? Can we identify history and prophecy? Who is the first beast in Revelation chapter 13? Who are the 7 kings in Revelation 17? I have asked all these questions, and I have found Nicholas Arthur's new book, When the Third Temple is Built, answers all these questions and more using Scripture to interpret Scripture. The Bible says that no prophecy of Scripture is of any private interpretation. Nicholas shows us in his new book, When the Third Temple is Built, how the Bible interprets prophecy and not man's private interpretation. Visit crosstheborder.org, CROSS, crosstheborder.org, to get your print, EPUB, or PDF version of Nicholas Arthur's new book titled When the Third Temple is Built. That's crosstheborder.org.
The book of Revelation says, the spirit of prophecy is the testimony of Jesus Christ. This is at the very heart of FirstAmendmentRadio.com. In that spirit, we have created the Prophecy Reality News app for all of your mobile devices, streaming First Amendment Radio 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Available for your Apple, Android device, and smartphone, absolutely free. Get the Prophecy Reality News app installed today so you can listen to First Amendment Radio wherever you are. The Prophecy Reality News app. Get it now.
Since the beginning of time, kings have sought it, nations have fought for it. It has been traded, it has been borrowed, it has been purchased, it has been stolen. There's a reason for it. to secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and to our posterity. Invest with the security of gold and silver. Call Discount Gold and Silver Trading at 1-800-375-4188 or visit discountgoldandsilvertrading.net. Listen to Financial Survival with your host Melody Cedarstrom right here on FirstAmendmentRadio.com at 4 p.m. Eastern or 1 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit discountgoldandsilvertrading.net or call Discount Gold and Silver Trading at 1-800-375-4188. Toll free 1-800-375-4188.